Very good afternoon to you, and thank you for finding time to be with us today. It is Monday, the 9th of May, 2022. I trust that you had a wonderful weekend. The show is Diaspora Dispatches. We get to bring us the latest news from the continent of Africa. My name is Miriam Ogutu. It is 3 p.m. here in Nairobi. Good morning, good evening, depending on where you're watching us from today. We shall start with some news from South Sudan, and South Sudan's health ministry has declared a cholera outbreak in Rubkona County in the northern oil-producing Unity State. A total of 31 cases, including one death, have been reported from the Rubkona town and Bentui camp. For the internally displaced persons, it said samples taken to the National Public Health Laboratory in the capital, Juba, returned positive test. Displaced people in the Unity State live in congested areas where water sources are highly contaminated. And in South Sudan, the cholera risk is typically high during the rainy season that starts from May to the end of October. The latest outbreak is the first to be reported since 2017, when more than 28,000 people were infected and 644 killed by the waterborne disease, and that is according to statistics from the Ministry of Health in South Sudan. Nigerian authorities have been accused of failing to ensure justice for the killing of #EndSARS protests in 2020. 6 months after a judicial panel implicated security forces, Human Rights Watch has tasked the government to act on the panel's recommendations and hold those responsible to account. In a statement, it said a failure to act on the panel's recommendation will send a painful message to victims and risks encouraging more violence by security forces. Hundreds of young people took to the streets of major cities in Nigeria in October 2020 to call for the disbandment of a police unit known as the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, SARS, in a movement dubbed #EndSARS. Security forces were accused of responding with excessive force, including gunfire. One of the worst crackdowns was the Lekki toll gate in Lagos, where army and police officers reportedly opened deadly fire on a crowd of protesters. A panel set up by the Lagos state government in the wake of the protest found in November last year that security forces shot, injured and killed unarmed protesters. We head over to Somalia, and President Mohamed Abdullahi Farmajo has formally announced his candidacy for a second term in the presidential elections due on the 15th of May. He said he was pursuing a second term in response to the Somali People's Corps and to continue a path of progress and development. His first-term mandate, constitutional mandate, ended in February last year, but he stayed on amid a delay in the holding of parliamentary elections. In Somalia, MPs are chosen by delegates appointed by clan elders and members of civil society selected by regional state officials. The MPs then vote for president who leads the country. Mr. Farmajo faces stiff competition from several candidates, including 2 former presidents. And then we head to Tanzania, where President Samia Suluhu held an emergency meeting of her cabinet on Sunday night over the price hikes of fuel in the country. The country's energy regulator, Energy and Water Utilities Regulatory Authority, last week announced record high fuel prices. The cabinet meeting in the coastal city of Dar es Salaam was attended by Prime Minister Kassim Majaliwa and the ministers of Energy and Finance, among others. And the African Union on Sunday condemned the Sunday attack that killed 11 Egyptian soldiers in the Sinai Peninsula. Egypt said the attack targeted a water pumping station near a pumping station, and news agencies have reported. Egypt has battled militants in Sinai for years. The Islamic State IS group said it carried out Sunday's attack. In a tweet, AU Commission Chairperson Musa Faki Mahamat condemned in the strongest terms the terrorist attacks in Sinai. And then we head over to the Democratic Republic of Congo, and dozens of people were killed after armed men raided a gold mine in Jugu in the DRC, Eastern Ituri province on Sunday. The AFP news agency quotes a local official as saying that 29 bodies had been retrieved from the artisanal mine. Among the dead was a 4-month-old baby, the statement said. In a statement, the Ministry of Communication blamed the Codeco rebel group for the attack. The Codeco group has previously been accused of carrying out raids against civilians in recent months. It's blamed for killing at least a dozen people at a church in March and another 60 in February. And then we head back to Nigeria, where gunmen in Nigeria have killed at least 48 people in attacks on 3 villages in northwest Zamfara state. The attacks took place last Friday and were reported by local officials and residents on Sunday. The village of Damri was the worst hit. The gunmen killed 32 people, including 2 security personnel. According to Aminu Suleiman, administrative head of the Bakura districts, the attacks were coordinated in early January. Gunmen killed more than 200 people in Zamfara state. Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari has called on the security forces to redouble their efforts to put an end to the killings. The violence has forced thousands to flee to neighboring Niger, with over 11,000 seeking refuge last November. That is according to reports by the United Nations. Northwest and central Nigeria have been terrorized for years by criminal gangs who raid and loot villages, steal cattle, and carry out mass abductions of residents for ransom. We head over to Tunisia. Hundreds of Tunisians demonstrated in the center of the capital on Sunday in support of President Kais Saied. The demonstrators unfurled banners with words of support and chanted slogans calling for an end to what they described as corrupt politicians. Opponents denounced the measures as authoritarian drift. Lofty Hamdi, the French-Tunisian professor who supports President Saied, who took power in 2021 and has become a target of growing criticism from his opponents who accuse him of authoritarianism. In April, several political parties announced the creation of a National Salvation Front whose aim is to unite all political parties. After months of political stalemate, Kais Saied, who was elected at the end of 2019, assumed full powers on July 25th of July by dismissing the Prime Minister and suspending Parliament before dissolving it last March. And then we head back to South Sudan, and President Salva Kiir had bilateral talks with President of the DRC in Juba. President Felix Tshisekedi arrived in Juba on Sunday. The heads of state discussed a number of issues, including security, cross-border trade and infrastructure development. It is the first time a sitting Congolese president has visited South Sudan since its independence. The two leaders are expected to sign a memorandum of understanding soon. For his part, President Felix emphasized the construction of a road connecting the two countries in order to enhance trade and food security. And then we go to Zimbabwe, and authorities in Zimbabwe have ordered banks to stop lending with immediate effect on Saturday. According to the government, the decision was taken to stop speculation against the Zimbabwean dollar and was part of a raft of measures to stop its rapid devaluation on the black market. Zimbabwe reintroduced a local currency in 2019 after abandoning it in 2009 when it was hit by hyperinflation. President Emerson Mnangagwa accused unnamed speculators of borrowing Zimbabwean dollars at below inflation interest rates and using the money to trade in foreign exchange. The devaluation of the Zimbabwean dollar's black market exchange rate has been driving up inflation year on year. Inflation reached 96.4% in April from 60.6% in January. And then we end some news from still in Nigeria, and economic and commercial activities were at a snail's pace on Monday in Owerri, the Imo state capital, as residents stayed indoors in compliance with a sit-at-home order declared by the indigenous people of Biafra. The local media monitoring the situation around town have reported that public and private offices, including banks, schools and markets, were shut. The ever-busy Cathedral Road, Imo State University Junction, Government House Roundabout, Ekenegbu Road and Douglas Roads were literally shadows of themselves. Only a few roads, food and newspaper vendors were seen selling to people who came out to buy food and newspaper. And of course, the popular Alaba International Market, located on Owerri Aba Road, was shut by artisans were seen waiting and attending to motorists on the roads leading to the market, while the Naza Omwanyeli Wood markets were shut. The Naza Industrial Cluster Market on Federal University of Technology, Federal Polytechnic, Nekede Road was open, but with very few people transacting business. And that is the latest news from the continent this afternoon. The sit-at-home order seems to have returned there in pro-Biafran states. I don't know if it's just Imo or also other, other states have also, they have implemented this sit-at-home order. It's not the first time, and of course, the IPOB trying to put pressure on the government, one, to release Nnamdi Kanu over, he's really facing very serious charges, Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra. And two, this sit-at-home is supposed to pressure the government to allow for a referendum. So wherever this sit-at-home, a call is made and people actually get to see it, apparently a lot of businesses get to be affected around that place. And here banks are closed and other very important businesses have been closed. So that is what is happening out there. I have noted there has been an increased talks and activities between the Democratic Republic of Congo and South Sudan. Of course, they share a border, I believe, and not quite, but maybe. But, yes, they do. So President Felix Tshisekedi and President, we've been seeing, what do you call them? We've been seeing leaders of different states meeting, governors of different states meeting, governors of South Sudan, some states meeting with governors from, Democratic Republic of Congo. And I think Congo is really, now that it is in the East African community, is really perhaps trying to take full advantage of it being a member and see how it can collaborate with individual countries, but also the countries in the bloc of the EAC. And so, of course, that's good for the two countries. And of course, they've said they want to develop a road that links both countries. Both South Sudan and the DRC, they don't have very good road infrastructure. For DRC, it's because of the civil wars that have gone on for God knows how long right now. And of course, South Sudan also reeling from the same civil war. And it's the youngest, I think, nation in Africa. So it's still yet to get its hold of itself after the country plunged into a civil war just 2 years after gaining its independence. And so it has not really had time to settle and develop very key infrastructure in the country, including the road network. And so these two countries share that. And so this will be a great opportunity. This will enhance free movement of people and goods and services. So it will be great for even the greater East African community region. So I think such bilateral talks that are meaningful should be welcomed. And we'll see they are yet to sign some memorandum of understanding. And that should be signed very soon. And we will see how that relationship continues from there. Of course, gunmen in northwest Nigeria killed 48 people. That happened on Friday, is it? That happened on Friday, but that was only reported on Sunday, yesterday. 48 people die, and that does not even become national news. Like, people have died so much from such senseless attacks that nobody is worried anymore about what is happening. Nobody cares anymore. It's like, okay, that's just another attack by this extremist group. Okay, that is just another abduction. Like, the people have become so desensitized from the gravity of things like this that, they've sort of it has become their norm, because I don't understand how 48 people die, are attacked. 32 people, including 2 security personnel, were killed in a village called Ndambri, and others in Bakura, that is in Bakura district. And then others also get attacked in different, the same locality, but in different villages. And then the rest of the country gets to know about this 2 days or so later. This is ridiculous. And obviously, the insecurity in Nigeria is alarming. It's warranting. President Buhari, they are saying that the security forces to redouble their efforts to put the end to the killings. And security forces also in the past have said, they don't even have enough weapons. They're not. What do you call it? They cannot fight. these extremist groups, because these groups have more sophisticated weapons compared to what they have. At least that is what the army of Nigeria said at one time. And so it's difficult, I guess, for them to secure the lives of the people of Nigeria. As we speak, over 11,000 in the recent past Nigerians have crossed over to Tunisia as refugees, because their countries have been, that is the latest, statistics by the United Nations, because they have been a target of these attacks by this extremist group in the, that part of Nigeria. So it's quite unfortunate. And I think the manner and the attitude in which the government approaches this matter is lackluster, and it appears the security of the people of Nigeria is not really in the top of the list of the current administration. And it's very interesting, or rather even worrying, that the current vice president, I think he has said that he will run for next year's election. And the key things he said he will do is he will continue with the manner in which President Buhari has handled the security. I think that is one of his key talking points when, he was giving his reasons as to why he wants to run for the presidency of Nigeria. And he said President Buhari has done significantly well as far as handling the security of the country is concerned. And so he wishes to continue the good job President Buhari has been doing as far as that is concerned. And you have to pause for a few moments and wonder, does this person reside in Nigeria? Does he have television at all, so that he watches the news or radio or something that gives him the information and updates him? And then you remember, oh, he is the vice president. That means he gets all the briefings, all the security briefings, all the intelligence briefings. So he is fully aware that the Nigerians are suffering, abductions have gone high, the insecurity has escalated, and their government is not doing much to address. So for him to come and say, President Buhari has done pretty well on that, and so he will just build on it, I think that shook me for a moment, because nothing much President Buhari. Maybe he has succeeded in other areas. I don't know. I don't live in Nigeria. I don't know. But every news we hear from Nigeria is the issue of insecurities for us out here. And so we wonder, what is that government doing, led by President, General Buhari? What is really happening? What is really happening, especially in the the northern side of Nigeria, northwest, northeast. It is a problem, a real problem. And so for 48 people to just have died, and that did not make national news, so that the rest of the country finds out a couple of days later, it is signs of things not working pretty well in Nigeria. So, of course, Somalia's president, the current sitting president, Mohamed Abdullahi Farmajo, has formally announced that he will be running for his second term. These presidential elections, we talked about them yesterday. A date was set finally. I think there's a signs of probably the leadership of Somalia is beginning to assemble themselves together and maybe doing something right. I mean, after a very long period. These elections were supposed to have happened 15 months ago. They've kept postponing, because of issues in here and there, but finally they gave a date, and that is on the 15th of May. And we know how the elections in Somalia works. The MPs are chosen by the delegates appointed by clan elders and members of civil society, selected by regional state officials, and then the MPs then vote for president who leads the country. So that is just some of the things that we will be seeing, just how the elections in Somalia work. So they have about 300 and is it 25 or 75 members of parliament, is it 275 in parliament, and then 58 in the Senate. So together they form, I'm not sure. I'm not sure of the exact number, but yes, it's almost like that. And then these are the people who will be voting for the president. These legislators, they are the ones who will be voting for the president. Somalia does not have a direct elections. That was supposed to happen last year, but because of so many underlying factors. And that was supposed to be the first direct elections where the people could actually just go and vote for their president, universal suffrage, that's what we call it. But that did not get to happen. And so it was quite a disappointment to many Somalis who had thought, finally we have the say-so in this election. So in the meantime, the clans and the civil society, they're the ones who elect these legislators. And then these legislators, they go and vote for the president. Pretty much, okay, not really exactly what happens in South Africa, the proportional representation. They do share some common similarities, the fact that the legislators are the ones who go and vote for the president. But again, in South Africa, it is a party with most members, that have the most people in parliament. The leader of that party becomes the president. So that's how it works with South Africa. And then these legislators, people go and vote for them. So I think it's similar but different. So for South Africa, that is proportional representation. This one, the fact that the people don't vote for these legislators directly may not really meet that threshold. But it's they do have a bit of a similarity. The fact that, here legislators vote for the president, but in South Africa, the party with the most representation, the head of that party becomes the president. So it's not similar, but not quite. So anyway, that is what is happening. So, the 15th of May is not too far away. So let's just wait. I'm just crossing my fingers that we don't hear of any attacks in parliament or one of the presidential candidates have been murdered from a grenade attack. All these chaotic acrobatics we see every time around the electioneering period. Because remember, even when they were voting for these parliamentarians, for these legislators, there was an attack in the airport, and there was an attack, I think, near even Parliament itself. So it has been, because there are people there who don't want elections in Somalia and who will do whatever they can to ensure that elections don't get to happen in Somalia. So yes, but we see there's a ray of hope, and so we are praying for the best, and we see how these elections will happen. And President Farmajo is seeking for a second term, and on the race is also two former presidents are also seeking to be re-elected. Two former presidents. Can you imagine if? I don't know, but Somalia is a special case. And hopefully, because the fact that they've not been able to have the elections in elections for the last 15 months as they should have had, in February last year, has also contributed to, them not being able to move forward as a country. So I think this will be a good step. If these elections get to happen, then this will be a good step. President Suluhu Hassan had a very urgent meeting with her cabinet last evening, and it was an emergency meeting actually, and that is because of the price hikes of fuel in the country. So I know Kenyans have been making so much noise here, and for good reasons, because hey, life has become something else. And these small increases in prices, they affect everything. They will affect production, and that cost will obviously be passed to the consumer. So that means the prices of even the most basic of commodities will go up automatically. So Kenyans have been complaining, and hashtags have been trending, but it's not a unique Kenyan problem. It is a problem now in Tanzania. President Suluhu had an emergency meeting, and it is a problem from across the world. And the increase in fuel prices, somebody from Nigeria should tell me, because the local flights there say they were halting the operations today because of the prices of the jet fuel has gone up. So are the local flights taking off and on? What is going on? You can update me, because I need to know what's happening there. But as I said, this is a problem that cuts across not just Kenya or Tanzania or just Africa, but it is something that is, this war has just complicated things. Just when the world was coming out of COVID-19, fine, the COVID-19 is still there, but just when we were getting it under control and things are slowly coming back to normal, and then boom, this unnecessary invasion happens, and now we are out here. The world is just scrambling to see how best people can handle the effects and the shocks that has come about from this, war between Russia and Ukraine. So we might have to, fasten our buckles for a while, because until this is settled, we might continue suffering. Just for a while. So anyway. Hopefully, we will find some relief soon. And I think that's all I had time for this afternoon. Charles Muunga, thank you. And Okubaki, Michael, and the rest of you who are watching, thank you so much for your time. This has been Diaspora Dispatches. My name is Miriam Ogotu. Enjoy the rest of your day, and bye-bye for now.
Thank you.